What if I told you Bolt Charge Titan was still OP? I know. Some of you are saying, Lucky, I just used Bolt Charge all last season. And I get it. Though I want to bring you all the strongest builds that I know about. And this new and improved Bolt Charge Titan build is just that. It deals a ton of damage, it has really good healing, and even has strong ability regeneration. Let's jump right on into it. One of the exotics that got a rework in Edge of Fate is Crest of Alpha Lupi. Previously, this exotic was nowhere close to meta. With this exotic, you could pop your barricade for a burst of health, and you'd create an extra orb from your super. While helpful, this was nowhere near enough to make it usable. However, they added a new interaction to it. Now, sustained damage while behind a barricade will trigger another small healing burst. Plus, when you heal your allies, you gain back class ability energy. Now, I know this doesn't seem like a lot, but when paired with a really strong DPS build like Storm's Keep Titan, you can become a DPS monster while staying healthy. See, with Storm's Keep, you can place down a barricade to consistently gain Bolt Charge for you and your team and unleash it for a ton of damage. Well, now you can also give out healing bursts and gain back your class ability energy faster so that you can constantly have that barricade up, which will give you and your team more damage, reload speed, healing, and protection from the barricade. This build is really strong for those endgame activities like the new Mythic World tier missions on Kepler. You and your team can post up at a bit of range and melt through enemies and bosses, dealing more damage and healing through most of any of the incoming damage. And last season, I was in love with the insurmountable version of the Bolt Charge Titan build for its pure survivability, and even the Curious build, since it was still really strong with Defibrillating Blast, which would constantly heal you. While these builds are still good, they can struggle. Insurmountable is good, but you need to be up close to get those melee kills, and if you have exploding units, then good luck. Curious does a ton of boss damage, but it struggles in the survivability department. I mean, you could even hot swap to it from Crest of Alpha Lupi for that extra damage if you really wanted to. And that's what I like so much about this build. It offers a really solid balance. You have extra damage from Bolt Charge and a ton of safety by sitting behind a barricade and plinking away at enemies. So let's dive into the build and break down how it works. As for the super, I'm opting for Thunder Crash since it's the clear best option for boss damage. For the class ability, I went with Rally Barricade for its shorter cooldown, and since it offers you the ability to shoot over your barricade and to proc that Bolt Charge. For the melee, I went with Thunderclap since it deals really good damage and gives you that damage resistance. As for the grenade, I'm bringing the Pulse Grenade. It's really consistent, deals really good damage, and pairs perfectly with our first aspect, Touch of Thunder. This makes it so that your arc grenades have an increased benefit. For the Pulse Grenade, it does two things. It now releases ionic traces while dealing damage to enemies, and this helps to get your grenade and barricade back even quicker for more healing bursts and damage. And the other part of this aspect is that it now makes Pulse Grenades deal more damage over time, and this will help to output more damage against bosses and tougher enemies, and is especially strong in hard content. For the second aspect, we're of course taking Storm's Keep. Now when we use our class ability, we're instantly granted 4 stacks of Bolt Charge, and every 0.6 seconds behind our barricade, we gain another stack of Bolt Charge. These benefits also extend to our nearby teammates, meaning that our barricades will help with both healing and dealing more damage for us and our team. When it comes to fragments, for the first fragment, I'm taking Spark of Magnitude. This makes it so that our grenades will last longer, and this is a really strong option since the Pulse Grenade will now deal 2 more pulses with the increased damage from Touch of Thunder. And for the second fragment, I'm taking Spark of Shock. This will make it so that your arc grenades will now jolt enemies, and this adds more AoE damage, but is also really strong with our next fragment, Spark of Ions. Now defeating a jolted enemy or scoring a kill with Bolt Charge will create an ionic trace. Our barricades will help us send off a ton of Bolt Charge, and our grenades now jolt enemies, so that we can consistently create these ionic traces, though there is a 10-second cooldown. And finally, I bring Spark of Volts. Now this makes it so that finishers will make you amplified and give you a stack of Bolt Charge. Our aspects don't grant amplification, so the only way we have to proc it is from arc rapid kills. So this will help get you closer to that 100% uptime on being amplified, which, if you remember, now makes it so that enemies are less accurate against you and you gain that 15% damage resistance. Plus, this fragment gives us plus 10 to our class ability stat, which will help us get closer to that 100 mark. And if you're enjoying the video or just excited to get into all the new content, leaving a like and subscribing would be much appreciated. Alright, let's get right back to it. So what does this look like in action? Well, our grenades are like mini nukes since they now last longer, deal more damage over time, and jolt enemies for AoE damage. Plus, they create ionic traces to help get all of our abilities back even quicker. And this is really important since in easy content, you want to mainly be running around, shooting enemies, and chucking those grenades as much as possible, only popping your barricade if you need health or if there's a boss. However, in hard content, you want to bring your team to a safe location. Then pop your barricade to heal everyone and start giving out the bolt charge for more damage. Then as you and your team pick away at enemies with your weapons, abilities, and bolt charge, you'll consistently heal everyone and block most of the damage with your barricade. And it is worth noting there's a specific interaction with an artifact perk, but we will talk about this a bit later in the artifact section. So let's talk about ways to improve the build. For stats, the number one thing you want to know is that you want to get your class stat to around 100. And with the stat going over 100, you will gain a bit of an overshield, but it's not a lot, so it's not really worth it in my opinion. Getting to 100 means that you have the max gains and the shortest cooldown. Then I like to aim for as much grenade as possible, getting as close as you can to that 200 stat. Our grenades deal a ton of damage, and this will give them a maximum of 65% more damage, and we get them back super quick with how many ionic traces we create. After that, it's more personal preference. I like to aim for a mix of about 100 in super and weapons to deal the most damage with my weapons, and if I can get my super stat over that 100 mark, I can also help melt bosses with my Thunder Crash. Now this sounds like a lot of stats, but that will be possible with our later font mods. And when it comes to those armor mods, for the helmet mods, first I like to take a harmonic siphon mod. That way I can help create a ton of orbs by getting rapid kills with our arc weapons. Then I like to bring 2 super font mods, and this will give us plus 40 to our super stat and help boost it over that 100 mark. Though if you are struggling on ammo, then I'd recommend swapping one of these for an ammo generation mod like Heavy Ammo Finder. And when it comes to the gauntlet mods, first up, I like to bring 2 copies of our grenade font mod. That way we gain plus 40 to our grenade stat, making it a lot easier to reach that 200 mark. Then I bring a copy of firepower. That way we can create an orb with a grenade kill every 10 seconds. Now we intrinsically gain back health whenever we pick up an orb, and that comes from our health stat. Plus, this will help keep up our armor charge for maximum benefit. And for the chest mods, I'm opting for 2 resistance mods. I like to bring 1 elemental resistance to match the main damage type of the activity I'm running. Then I bring a sniper resistance mod. That way we take less damage from enemies that are further away, since we will be sitting back in hard content. I then like to bring a stasis ammo generation mod. That way we can help create more ammo for both our special and heavy weapon, but in hard content, this could be swapped out for another resistance mod. As for the leg mods, I like to bring 3 stasis weapon surge mods, and this will give our stasis weapons 22% more weapon damage. And we will be bringing 2, if not 3 stasis weapons that will benefit from this, but we'll save that for the weapon section. When it comes to the class mods, I first like to bring Bomber. That way, when we use our class ability, we gain back more grenade energy. Since both will be at 100, we'll create a ton of ionic traces, and this will help you spam your pulse grenades more often. Then I bring a copy of our class font mod, which will give us plus 20 to our class stat and help us reach those high stats on all of our other important stats. And I then bring time dilation. That way we can have 15 seconds per armor charge to ensure that we consistently have it active for all of our stats and weapon damage. And when it comes to the artifact, there are a few artifact perks that really help this build out. But as we mentioned in the gameplay loop section, there's one in particular that is really beneficial for this build. That is Elemental Benevolence. This now makes it so that giving an elemental buff to allies gives back about 15% class ability energy. Now this does have a cooldown, but since we'll be popping our barricade and giving out bolt charge consistently, we can continuously proc this. Oh yeah, and it does stack with how many allies you buff. So if you place down a barricade in a raid DPS phase, you'll immediately get back about 60 to 70% of your class ability. Then I also really like Fever and Chill, since we will be using a stasis weapon. Now when we get rapid precision hits, we gain stacks of frost armor for more damage resistance, helping us to take less damage. Which is why I also really like Shoulder to Shoulder, since we can deal precision damage near allies to gain ×2 resist, which is another 25% damage resistance, and also really good for DPS phases and harder activities. But I also really like the duo of Refreshing Threads and Elemental Coalescence. That way rapid arc kills create ionic traces, and when we pick up ionic traces, we gain a bonus boost of energy to our least charged ability. But importantly, we also really want to take Shield Crush. Now, while amplified, we gain 25% more damage for our pulse grenades, and they have a quicker recharge rate, and this helps to make those mini nukes even stronger. You can also take Elemental Overdrive, so that picking up an ionic trace will boost your arc weapons by 10%. Now, I don't know for sure if this stacks with weapon surges, so let me know in the comment section below. So if you do plan on bringing arc weapon surges to match your weapons, then use this one with caution. And when it comes to your weapons, you have a ton of free reign to use whatever weapon weapons best match the activity that you're running. Just make sure to match your armor mods to your main weapon damage type. I was having a ton of fun using the new Graviton Spike as my primary weapon, since I could then bring a Stasis Special and Heavy, and all three of my weapons will benefit from that weapon surge mod. The fun part about this exotic is that when you overcharge it in the Stasis mode, on precision hits you create crystals, and in the arc mode, on precision hits you'll add in another lightning strike, which does stack with the bolt charge damage. Funny enough, the lightning strikes won't shatter those crystals you create, but bolt charge will, so it feels really nice with a build like this. Though you could opt for your favorite primary and bring an area denial grenade launcher as a special weapon to help generate more bolt charge. And then you could also bring Thunderlord to deal a ton of boss damage and build up that super really quick. This build has a ton of survivability and damage, especially for how easy it is to use. This build helps you and your team run through some of the hardest content in the game at a safe distance, and helps me get through the Mythic campaign. But if you want to see a Titan build that excels at being up close and personal with your enemies, then go check out this video here. But remember, mastering this build is only the beginning. Experiment with different combinations and tweak your loadout to suit your playstyle. If you found this video helpful or just enjoyed seeing a new perspective, feel free to like the video and comment down below on what you might change or how you'd improve the Crest Titan build. Keep an eye out for future videos as we continue to explore the ever-evolving world of Destiny 2. Until then, may the threads of fate be ever in your favor. This is Lucky Mech signing off. See you on the next adventure, Guardians.